From a distance, one can see the plane carrying the special guest who will be here for 2 days. He lands at the Julius Nyerere International Airport in the city of Dar es Salaam and is received by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation and the Minister of Health. He was moved to watch traditional dance prepared in his honor. Health Minister Ume Mwalimu highlights how her ministry plans to maximize on his visit to the country.
The president of Guinea-Bissau is also the chairman of the presidents of the Union of Africa in the fight against malaria, because malaria has become a pandemic in many African countries. The main thing is to discuss how African countries will be able to cooperate in increasing the availability of funds in the fight against the malaria pandemic.
The president of Guinea-Bissau will be here for a 3-day state visit from the 21st to the 23rd of June 2024.
As you heard, the president of Guinea-Bissau, Umaro Sissoko Embalo, has arrived for his official state visit to the country, and among other things, aiming at promoting trade and investment opportunities between the two countries. The visit is taking place at a time when the West African country has more than 1.9 million people and is said to be amongst the countries with the smallest economies in the world. Here is Guinea-Bissau at a glance.
Guinea-Bissau is one of the countries that is fighting hard on eliminating poverty with a population of over 1.9 million people. Economic growth remains at 4.2% in 2024, while the poverty is estimated to increase to 26.7% in 2023 from 26% in 2022. Inflation decreased to 7.2% from 7.9% in 2022. When the first half of the year averaged 10% inflation, and it decreased in the second half to reach 3% in November and December. The overall fiscal deficit increased to 7.6% of GDP in 2023 from 6.1% in 2022, while the fiscal deficit is expected to decrease to 4.8% due to tight budget controls. Public debt decreased to 77.8%, while the debt is expected to decrease again to 75.6% of national income, with inflation expected to continue to decrease to 2% this year.
The National Irrigation Commission, in collaboration with the Tanzania Railway Corporation, TRC, under the funding of the World Bank, continues with the implementation of the initial stages, which involves a feasibility study of 6 irrigation dams to deal with floods and protect the modern railway SGR project. Here are more details.
The dams are being built in Kidete, in Morogoro, and Kimagai, Dabalo, Hombolo, Ikowa, and Buigiri in Dodoma. The Director General of the National Irrigation Commission, Raymond Mndoa, accompanied by experts from the National Railway Corporation, experts from the Commission, as well as experts from the World Bank and others from Wamiruvu Basin, insist that the dams will make the SGR project more secure. Ndola adds that the team of experts have visited the Kidete Dam project in Morogoro region and the Membem, Sagali, Kimagai, Hombolo, and Dabalo dams in the Dodoma region, targeting to eyewitness the actual condition of the dams. The flood control project involves the construction of new dams as well as the repair of existing dams, which are Hombolo and Dabalo dams. The main goal is to ensure that the construction is done more efficiently and facilitates water harvesting, preventing flooding, and to protect the Central Railway connecting the regions of Dodoma and Morogoro.
From the transportation sector, we come now to Dar es Salaam, where African governments have been urged to set up a system and easy process for those who have African origin and wish to reconnect to the continent where some believe their ancestors were born. The call has been made during a symposium targeting to discuss on the right to return of those of African origin living in other countries and how their return can contribute to the prosperity of the motherland. Here are more details.
to have the right to return as an activity, as an action for us when coming back home, because we were taken away from here, stolen, we were trafficked, captured, and forced to forget our history, our culture, and our language. But we didn't know deep in our blood memory, we did know that we're from Africa. Africa is our motherland. And there has been in many of us the desire to go back to the land of our forefathers. And so having an easy process for us to come back is very important, because many of us have suffered a lot in the West, racism and its different forms.
Well, I think it's a fundamental importance that for all people of African descent that they have somewhere to call home. And one of the things that is demonstrated by are remittances. Remittances keep afloat much of the African economies all over the continent. In Kenya, for instance, it's over $3 billion a year, which actually exceeds that of the whole of the Kenyan economy. So if you replicate that across the continent, the economic empowerment of the continent is often determined by people in the diaspora who send money home. But also, it means that that network is critical. So when we decide to move back home, either as visitors or permanently, our ability to do so is facilitated as best as possible by the ruling authorities.
Challenge there to the African countries to rebrand the continent, ready for those who do feel Africa is the traditional homeland. Director of Employment Services, Prime Minister's Office, Joseph Nganga, says the government has started to implement the new education curriculum at various levels, targeting to produce more skilled and relevant experts needed in the local and international labor market. He made the remarks during the closing of 8-month hospitality industry training under the funding of the Prime Minister's Office, emphasizing that the participants of the training should enhance their creativity and spearhead reforms to the country's economy through the tourism sector.
We are using this principal training to have graduates with the necessary skills to work not only in the local labor market, but also in the global labor market, which needs specialized skills. And that is why the government is investing much to develop the human resources within the tourism sector. I emphasized on major 4 necessary skills which are required by employers. 1, professionalism. They need to work professionally according to what they have learned during this training period. But second, they need to be ethical. All employers need employees who are ethical, but also need to be creative.
On the other hand, the Chief Executive Officer of the National College of Tourism, Dr. Florian Mtei, together with some other beneficiaries of the training, thanked the Prime Minister's Office for coordinating the training, which in turn is expected to boost the tourism sector.
In a very special way, I would like to thank the Prime Minister Office for Work, Employment, Youth and People with Disabilities and all other stakeholders for being able to facilitate this training for our youth. As a college, we commend this kind of projects to be continued so that youth could get training and have qualification to be employed and self-employment.
I would like to thank Madam President, Madam Samia Suluhu Hassan, for giving this opportunity of getting the training. This training will help us to get the employment.
Today is our special day. We are graduating here at National College of Tourism. I would like to thank President Samia Suluhu Hassan to give us this chance. It was a special program which is sponsored by Prime Minister.
More than 200 of whom are expected to be the future local tourism sector stakeholders have benefited from the training that have lasted for 8 months. We move now to the Morogoro region, where the use of solar technology in powering irrigation is expected not only to boost food production and enhance the agricultural activities involving business crops, but also preserve the environment. From Morogoro region, here is a report by Remy Asinti, read by Kanki Maigomole.
More than 60% of all Tanzanians in the country engage in the agriculture sector, a sector that is said to be one of the most key sectors in stimulating economic growth and widening access to foreign currency. So the sector has the capability to continue to contribute to the national income, and now the use of new solar technology in irrigation is said to have a significant contribution to key crop production.
It is very easy to provide water by using solar pumps in irrigation. And these solar panels differ in size and very affordable to farmers. Realistic, as well as the solar panels rely on sunlight energy.
Here, a call is being made to the farmers on the use of this technology.
And if we rely on these solar panels on our irrigation schemes, we will cultivate in large numbers, and communities will have more than enough food storage.
The farmers, who are the main beneficiaries, say that modern technologies in agriculture are the catalyst for the agricultural development in the country.
We urge the government to provide loans so that more farmers are able to own these solar panels. Agriculture has made life much easier, especially after the introduction of the solar panels.
Interesting story there from the Morogoro region. Now we move to one of our top stories tonight, where the Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism, Angela Kairuki, says that the government will continue to collaborate with various development stakeholders to implement restoration of degraded land as part of the African Forest Landscape Restoration Initiative. She made the remarks while addressing African Forest Landscape Restoration Initiative conference that involves more than 32 countries from African continent. Peter Mganga was there and has prepared the following report.
Deforestation and land degradation continue to be one of the most pressing global issues of our time, and Africa is no exception. According to Food and Agriculture Organization in 2016 and UNEP in 2013, the continent loses 2.8 million hectares of forests each year, and about 50 million hectares of land are affected by degradation. Here, the Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism explains strategies the government is expected to take to restore forests.
Many forests were grown, others were burned, others were lost for many causes, including burning, cutting trees for damage to wood, other issues of traffic, and the use of charcoal. Therefore, it was accepted to be set as a goal to grow trees up to 2030 in the countries of the African Union. 34 out of 55 countries across the African continent, they have made a promise to save forests.
On the other hand, the Chief Executive Officer of Tanzania Forest Service Agency, TFS, Professor Dos Santos Silayos, says that they will continue to provide education on the forest restoration campaign so that to protect the natural resources found in Tanzania for the wider interest of the nation.
We have to educate our general public to show them the importance of our existing natural systems, being forests or the other ecological systems, so that they all participate in conservation, because communities, they take part and they are primary managers of our ecosystems. That's why education is very important. And what else do we do is to subsidize the dependence of products from forests by other sustainable products. For example, if it's charcoal, for example, we have to look for alternative energy sources so that communities will no longer depend more on charcoal for their household cooking.
Furthermore, some of the participants of the conference vow to utilize the knowledge in bringing about positive reforms.
So the crucial issue in the restoration is to capture the data for restoration, and we need to have a tool for capturing all the data from landscape level so that we can know how much we have restored. So so long as there were development partners and financial partners who participated in this meeting, we expect that they will put more money in finding the way of capturing the data restored.
As African countries, we have a target of restoring 100 million hectares of degraded ecosystems. And as of today, we have seen commitment which has gone beyond the 100,000 targets. So what remains of the governments in Africa is to really work hard to attain their targets.
We look forward to sensitizing the communities. We look forward to advocating for more of these kinds of arrangements, but also ensuring that everybody knows that there is a responsibility as a country and as a continent, but we have delivered on in ensuring that we have a safe world.
The conference aims to mobilize support from governments, public and private sector partners, international development programs, and local communities to restore productivity to deforested and degraded lands and improve livelihoods across the African continent. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Peter Mganga, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Peter Mganga, for that report. Now, before we wind up our local news tonight, let us now have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Every weekday, TBC News will be here to update you with all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. And here is international news as compiled by Ramadan Impenta and read by Antonia Kivaria.
The South African Democratic Alliance Party, DA, has suspended the newly sworn-in Member of Parliament, Ronaldo Gauss, with immediate effect, pending a disciplinary hearing after an old video of him calling for the killing of black people risen on social media. This has appeared after he has sworn as an MP on Friday. The party says it has established that the video circulating on social media in which Gauss, 41 at age, uses terrible language is genuine and not as fake as initially suspected. Gauss will now face disciplinary charges before the party's Federal Legal Executive Committee. In the video clip made 16 years ago, Gauss is seen and heard on radical rant using the K and the N-word, calling for the killing of black people. The South African Parliament says it is up to the DA to deal with the matter, as it cannot apply the Code of Ethical Conduct for the members retroactively. But the South African Human Rights Commission, SAHRC, has said it would take legal action against Mr. Gauss for the alleged racial utterance relating to the online media post. Indian top examination for admission into medical schools and research programmers have come under expectational inspection aimed raising evidence of corruption and paper leaks, leaving the future of more than 3 million students hanging in the balance. The National Testing Agency, NTA, an autonomous body under Indian Ministry of Education that is responsible for holding the nationwide examinations, is at the center of the controversies over integrity of the National Eligibility Entrance Test, NEET, a national exam for medical aspirants held last month. The exam results on June 4 revealed irregularities in marks and dramatically high number of toppers, with a wave of arrests in the different parts of the country for alleged paper leaks and multi-million-dollar cheat scams. Since then, several students have approached the Supreme Court and the State of High Courts, staged protests in the scorching heat and organized campaigns on social media platforms demanding independent probes and re-examination. About 2.4 million candidates took the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, NEET, competing for 100,000 posts in the medical schools. However, Indian Educational Minister Dharmendra Padra has said that there will be a reform committee and action will be taken for those responsible. At least 47 people have died as downpouring in southern China's Guangdong province caused catastrophic floods and landslide, according to state media. Another 38 people were confirmed dead in Monzong City, adding to the 9 who were previously known to have died in the same location. The search of survivors continue against rising probabilities. More than 50,000 people were affected by the rain, which have wrecked thousands of homes and roads.
That's the international news. The sports news up next. And in sports news tonight, the Executive Secretary of the National Arts Council of Tanzania, Dr. Kenmond Mapana, says the Hollywood Awards festivals to be held in Tanzania will create an opportunity for those in the film and music industry in Tanzania. Dr. Mapana believes that Tanzania film and music practitioners will use that opportunity to exchange ideas with experts to boost production quality of their artworks to reach even better standards.
The Harper Awards is coming to Tanzania, and this is a great achievement for our artists. Our artists have been doing amazing work, from the bongo flavor, muziki wa dance, singeli, and all that. And now Tanzania is well known in the world.
In general, I can say, all the way from film to music to fashion designers, to use this opportunity for the world to see them.
Festivals of Hollywood Awards will take place in Dar es Salaam on August 10th and is expected to be attended by artists from across the world. Deputy Minister of Culture, Arts and Sports, Hamis Mwinjuma, acknowledges that Ruvuma Cultural Festivals will amplify the development of cultural tourism in the area. Speaking during the inauguration of the festival held at the National Museum in Dar es Salaam, Deputy Minister Mwinjuma insisted that the festival is one of the methods of preserving our culture for the next generation. The Ruvuma Cultural Festival is expected to take place from June 20th to June 27th in Songea and will involve traditional activities from various tribes. And that's the sports news. Now, before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let's take a look at the weather forecast here in Tanzania for the next 24 hours.
Hello, this is 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority starting from tonight, 9 p.m. Wind is expected to flow at the speed of 30 kilometers per hour over Lake Nyasa. For Lake Victoria and Lake Tanganyika, wind is expected to flow at the speed of 40 kilometers per hour. And the state of the lake is expected to be moderate to rough. For the entire coast, wind is expected to flow at the speed of 40 kilometers per hour, and the state of the sea is expected to be rough. And this comes with an advisory of severe weather, of which Tanzania Meteorological Authority has issued an advisory of period of strong winds reaching 40 kilometers per hour and large ocean waves reaching 2 meters over some areas of the entire coast, areas around Lake Victoria, and areas around Lake Tanganyika, Lukwa, and Katavi region. Necessary measures and precautions should be taken. And now let us see of the weather details, and this is what we expect for tonight. The entire country is expected to be dry, and we expect cool to colder temperatures over most parts of the country, especially over southwestern highland, of which the lowest minimum temperature is expected to reach 9 degrees of centigrade over Njombe region, followed by 11 degrees of centigrade over Mbeya region. And now let us see of what we expect for tomorrow. For the entire country, we expect partly cloud condition and sun periods. And now let us take a look of the next 4 days weather forecast. that's all for today. Make sure to catch up again tomorrow. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, my name is Mariam Fares. Bye-bye.
That's the weather forecast, and that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Nessa King. We'll catch us again next week on Monday, same time, same place, right here on TBC1. Much love and enjoy your weekend.